So this is a quick 5-minute professional development video about how to talk about race in the classroom. And this is adapted from Courageous Conversations About Race, as well as the work of Radar Jones Ungantu. So one of the things that we can do when talking about race, or actually any subject that's going to generate conversation, is to have 5 agreements. And so what I would do is to write these 5 agreements on the board and reference them at the start of every conversation. One of the things that we want to do in schools is to model how to have constructive conversations. Too often we see in the news media instances of people with different beliefs yelling at each other and arguing and are doing so in a very unproductive way. We have the opportunity in our schools to really take the lead in helping students develop the capability to have a good debate, to have a good discussion about issues that are relevant to them and to the world that they are entering. That is, after all, one of the foundational goals of schools, is to teach citizenship skills. And so these are the 5 agreements that we can put on the classroom board and that we can go over at the start of every conversation. And those 5 agreements are: assume the positive intent, stay engaged, experience discomfort, expect and accept non-closure, and speak your truth. So the first agreement is to assume positive intent. And this really is allowing students to have the opportunity to look at their classmates and to evaluate the argument or the point that their classmate is making and not their classmate themselves. So like the second bullet says there, make the focus of the discussion the argument the person has made, not the person themselves, and assume that the person who is speaking has positive intent and they mean no harm. If we do that, that will allow us to listen with an open mind and an open heart. The second agreement is to stay engaged. And only the individual themselves knows if they are engaged or not. So one of the things that I like to do is to teach students the skills that they can ask themselves, are they engaged? So asking the students, to what extent am I engaged? What is keeping me engaged? What do I need to stay engaged? Maybe at different points throughout a class discussion, taking a pause and asking the students, are you engaged? And giving them those 3 questions. That can help make sure that every member of the class is involved in the discussion. The third agreement is to experience discomfort. And conversations about race aren't easy. Some people have been given many cultural and social cues that it's a topic to be avoided. Instead of avoidance, however, we can tell participants to embrace the discomfort. And it's where discomfort leads to growth. I sometimes like to use the analogy of a person lifting weights. If you're a really strong weightlifter and you continue to lift 5-pound weights week after week after week, you're not going to grow your muscle mass. But if you keep upping your weight total, if you keep experiencing discomfort, eventually your muscles will grow. And the same happens in classrooms discussions and with topics that might lead to discomfort. The more we talk about them, the more comfort will be gained and the more that the conversation will be able to get to a deeper level. The fourth agreement is to expect and accept non-closure. This actually might be one of the most difficult ones for our students. Sometimes students just want to be told, what do I need to know, or what's the answer? Well, in talking about race and other subjects, sometimes there is no simple answer. There is no quick fix. And so what this allows us to do when we have this as an agreement in the class is it allows a commitment to an ongoing conversation. And it empowers the participants in the discussion to work towards solutions and ideas when they don't have an expectation that there is going to be an answer put out in front of them. And then the fifth and final agreement is to speak your truth. And what that means is we want our participants to know that their voice is not only important, but necessary in the conversation. When we say to a student, speak your truth, we're asking them to make a personal connection that will allow them to be more invested in the conversation. And others in this discussion can learn more from the experience of those who share their perspective. And so again, the 5 agreements are: assume positive intent, 2, stay engaged, 3, experience discomfort, 4, expect and accept non-closure, and 5, speak your truth. If we begin every conversation about race with these 5 agreements, it can help lead to a positive and deeper discussion.